Okay. Well. All right. Well, why don't we? It's close to 7. Don't know who's going to join the party. You got what I sent out today about what you need to be filling out. There's a little mistake. If you will look down at the bottom, what I sent you, I said you only need to pick. I think I had 6. You need to mark out 6 and change that to 5. Okay. You picked 5, and I've picked 1 already. Now, I hope you can see the big picture by thinking in terms of, for the most part, you've already done 5. If you've sort of kept up with what's been going on, your work has been completed. The only thing that you have left to do is to submit your document, deal with the 8 plus 4 and that other thing. You just need to make sure you got 5 done. I'm going to go back and look at the screen panel on the Grade Center, and it'll take a little work, but I think we all need to be on the same page with it for crunch time, just to make sure that you got at least 5 done. And you're going to be ready for 6 once the evaluator gives you a 3 or a 4. Now, one of you sent me an email about trying to load your complete document, but it wouldn't take it because it was too much. Okay. Anybody that ring a bell with anybody?
Yes, that was me.
Okay. Now, let me tell you what I want to tell you. Now, this is what your coach should have been telling you. In TaskStream, if you have a photo, that eats up a lot of data. The next data eating machine would be a graph. And then, of course, the third would be the typed word that you put up. So hopefully your clinical coach is saying, look, if you can just reference the picture, if you can just reference the chart, that will pull down some data where you can get it through. It only will take so much at a time. And I'm sorry that we didn't even get to that point where your clinical coach had said, when you get ready to do this, this could happen. But I have known that to happen before, where a student would put stuff up, and then we look at what they put up. The photos are the worst. The charts are the next worst, if that makes any English, and then the typed word is the third. So in my opinion, and I'm not your clinical coach, I would merely reference the photos that you've taken. And, you know, you can put somewhere in that document, the evaluator may go bonkers, but the point is you need to tell them you got this photo and you've written about what it's showing. You need to sort of be able to tell them that so they'll not think you're just making something up. The photos are the worst. The charts are next. Hopefully you have moved your work over to like a thumb drive or somewhere, and then you can tweak it a little, keep the original, always keep the original, make a copy on the thumb drive, and then pull back some space-eating information and try it again. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Have any of you been in touch with your clinical coach?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. What was the opinion of those people?
He did tell me just exactly what you said. He said just reference and say, I did have one of my PLC classmates help me too, say this is an example of how you could do it.
Right.
You say references and then upload either just one picture or a graph, and he also sent me a link of how to compress my file also.
Now, I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, he did send me something through my email, the Gardner Web email, saying that this is how the process. But I had already just referenced
You
whatever
pulled some stuff out. Right.
in it, one picture or one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I?
Dr. Bowen?
Yes.
Yes, sorry. Question there. Is there any way can one convert it to a PDF? I mean, keep the original in Word, but the one that you upload is in PDF. Wouldn't that?
I would try it that way, DeWald. You know,
Because that would take the size right down.
Okay, well, try it that way, but keep your original and then convert the second one, just in case a clinical coach, something happens, or the evaluator says they would rather go in this direction. What else have you found out about doing this process? Anybody? Okay. Okay, so for those coming on board, I want to make sure you go back and look at that document I sent out earlier. I originally had at the very bottom, you need to pick 6. You need to mark out 6 and put 5. I've already picked one for you. Now, I want you to understand how easy that is. They would have to communicate with me anyway to issue the final grade based on the evaluator's evaluation. So what you're going to do is when they issue you a 3 or a 4, you'll just send me a snapshot of it and put it in that place on the assignment page. So people getting ready to move on with putting the complete document. Remember to pull back. The pictures are the worst. The charts are second. And I probably wouldn't mess with the written word, but try to keep the original, pull the charts and pictures back, or like the wall here, convert it to what happens. Okay. Did you look down that list of 11 items? That pretty much covers it. And from what I've looked at about an hour ago, most of you have already completed your 5 parts that you would pick from. And I want you to look at that. I will send you a separate email for all of you as to what the major panel looks like, as to what you've already submitted, item this, item that, item whatever. And that way you'll know that you're good to go, and basically focusing on putting up that completed document for your evaluator to look at, and then sending me the screenshot that you were given a 3 or a 4, then I do that magic and then issue to A. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I hope so.
I'm sorry, I wasn't here for the beginning of the 11 document that you sent. Now, are we gonna go on Blackboard of those things that we?
Would be, yes. You've put that stuff up already, most of it. You just go back over to Blackboard and see what parts you've already put up, and then see which would be the process to do next to get your 5 in. I have already picked number 6, so that I will deal with that when you send me the snapshot. Should be a relatively simple fix. So again, your focus toward looks like next week or no later than the week after.
Okay.
Is the getting up of the completed APSL in a one flowing document. And you may have to try it a couple of times to get past either compressing it, as DeWald suggested, or pulling out the pictures. Like I said, are the worst. I thought about when I read that email this morning. Well, I had that same problem a couple of years ago. You putting stuff up, but it was more than the task stream could handle. So we got a couple of ways to get around. Have any of you been able to upload the entire APSL? And it stick? Okay. But you have been talking with your clinical coaches as to what you should be doing to get it loaded, and they're suggesting like DeWald said or what I had mentioned about pulling things back and something like that. Nadej, can you send me that link and I will forward it to the class? Did Dr. Hamilton send that to you?
No, no, it was somebody else that I'll email it. I'll forward it to y'all.
Do send it to me, and then I will forward it to everybody. So I'm trying to give you as many options as possible, so we can get around this compression or the quantity of data putting up in TaskStream. Now, keep in mind, you're competing for data space with everybody in the program, but basically, when you put it up under your name, you've been given X number of bytes of information, and you got to fall. I don't know what the number is, but you've got to fall under that number. So as soon as you can get your full thing uploaded, and make sure, especially that you and your clinical coach are in communication to make sure they're feeling along with you that your work is ready to be evaluated. We did talk about this probably several times from the get-go. That needs to be a joint effort between you and the clinical coach saying, your work looks good. I think you've met the parts of the rubric in all 5 of the tasks. I think you're ready to throw it up and send it to the evaluators to see what they have to say. Now, again, if you're fortunate, and I think everybody's work that I've looked at, and I've made some suggestions about adding some different sites or then having sites to your reference. I think your work's good. And I think you're ready, along with the clinical coach, to go ahead and get yourself situated to get it moved over at least next week or late next week. And do keep in mind, let's suppose you've gotten some things that need to be tweaked or adjusted or changed. They are to send it back, and the evaluator is to communicate with the clinical coach, specifically giving you what you need to add, change, or take away to make it a 3 or a 4. So now is when you're in crunch time with those 2 people, clinical coach, evaluator, as to what you need to do with the 5 parts of the APSL, and I will be checking behind you on my spreadsheet and to make sure you have at least 5 items already picked that you've uploaded. So you've got your 5. I'm going to add one more, my 6th, but I won't get that until you put up your 3 or 4 in a snapshot. Okay? So as I've been telling you all along, we're coming up to crunch time. Catherine, you still with us? You got a head cold?
I had strep all last week.
Oh, bless your. Where are you from? I want to stay away from that county.
Wilmington, North Carolina.
But this is a bad time of year to be getting strep if it's not that or the allergies and whatever.
Yeah.
But you know your focus now is those 5 parts in the APSL, and then those other little pieces that you've been tweaking on. I will come behind you and make sure you've got at least 5, and I'll tell you which ones you have so you can double check your records. But you need to stay focused on the 5 parts of the APSL. It's like I'm a running record on the tape recorder. You focus on that. I'll get that other stuff out to you late this week or early of next, so you'll be ready to know once you get your work up and they're evaluating it. I will have sent you this and say, okay, I've got 4 of the 5. Go down the list and pick one more, and you're good to go with my part. Okay. Any questions so far about that process? All right. Now remember, next week is Easter for Gardner-Webb. No class on Thursday. I am sure you're working as hard as you can. Some of you have next week off. Some of you may have the week after off. I don't know. But I'm sure with being out of school, you also need to be focusing on wrapping this thing up and getting those 5 parts by way of your clinical coach to the evaluator so they can start looking at your work. Okay? What else? Anything that, don't worry about the readings. I want you to get, like we've been doing so far, you need to be doing this. You know what I'm going to be working on. So no group class next week. Focus on the 5 tasks and the 12, which is the 8 plus 4 in the competencies. Now, as we go through next week, I'd rather not stay away from you for 2 whole weeks. So if you have some time that you want to come back and Zoom with groups or with me, send me an email. Just pick a time, give me a couple of choices of a date and a time, and I will be talking to 2 or 3 others to make sure that we're progressing and doing like we're supposed to as we get toward the 1st of May. Questions so far from the group? Anybody? So you know what you need to be doing. I can't beat you enough except keep working on those 5 parts. Get that ready with the clinical coach. I hope they're commenting that I think you're ready. Submit. We've got some ways. Nadejda's going to send me that link and her forward that email.
I already did.
Oh, okay. I will forward that to the group. So
Yeah, it was from Tessa, somebody named Tessa.
who?
Who that is.
Okay. Well, I'll keep it moving to y'all. And then so you got 2 or 3 ways to compress your data, either with this one or what DeWald had suggested. But again, I cannot stress enough, keep your original document original and then tweak the parts you want to tweak to see if they'll go through. Do not mess with your only document that you have to work with. That's sort of like losing a chapter out of a dissertation. It'd be a tough come back to that one if you mess that up. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The original, make a couple copies on the thumb drive, original 1, original 2, original 3, and then try to tweak them a little bit to get them to upload to TaskTrain. That's the best way to deal with it. All right. I will, when we close this out, Nadejda, I'm going to pick that email up and I will forward it to y'all and try 2 or 3 ways and share with the others. And I want to make sure that you get your best shot at getting this done. And the sooner you get it to the evaluator by way of your clinical coach, the sooner they can start looking at it and moving with a 3 or a 4 or sending it back with suggestions. That's if they do their job, I want it to come back to you as soon as possible so you can do your job again and make those suggested changes to make it fly. Okay? Anything else? Okay. Keep working on the big 5. That's what I want. And then within no later a day or 2, I'll send you exactly what you have submitted so you'll know if you've only done 4, you know you need to pick up a 5th one. And then you'll be cleared. And then when you put that up from the grade center, I will tell you your 5 assignments toward your grade is complete. And that's all you'll need to hear from me. Get past with this other hurdle with the 3 and the 4, and then we'll finish up Mail 601. Okay? Let me hear from you if you want to come back and we do some one-on-one questions specifically, either in an email or we'll deal with what the handbook says for us to be working on. But I want to get this thing well wrapped up underway no later than the end of April. I want to make sure that we finish on time.
I want to make sure I understand that right. Do we resubmit those 5 to you, or they just stay where they are? Just make sure it is completed.
Just leave them, those 5 right where they are.
Okay.
Yeah, you should have already have them in the assignment center. And what it does is it takes your profile and it runs me a spreadsheet, and I can look at your name and see what you submitted, and I can see the point values given to each one of those that you submitted. It'll just take me a few nuts and bolts to send you. And in fact, I think there's a process where I can click on your name and send you an email and show you what you've got already in the system. And that's probably going to be the best way for me to send that to you. Okay, but that was a good question. Okay, guys. do not, and I know I'm not talking to high school kids or middle school kids. I just don't want you to get caught up in whatever else in the world is going on. Stay focused with what's due by way of your clinical coach to the evaluator so they can have a fair chance of looking at it and it not create a bottleneck. They get behind, and that's frustrating to you because I think they're supposed to have a 2 or 3 day turnaround time, number one. And number two, they're supposed to issue specific comments as to what it needs to be tweaked to make it a 3 or a 4. Okay? That is the goal. Okay? Unless I hear from you, I will forward that email, and then we'll keep doing what we're doing. And I'll
Sorry, Dr. Bowen. I'm just thinking about the feedback we're getting from the evaluators. The 3 or the 4, will it be a 3 or a 4 on the individual assignments? I know it's one long document, but it's 3 or a 4 on each individual assignment?
No, sir. It'll be a 3 or a 4 on the entire APSL.
Okay.
Either 1-3 or 1-4 on one document, not the parts.
But then with some clear feedback on areas that may need to be addressed to make it a 3 or a 4.
That's exactly what they're supposed to do. I'll tell you in task 1, you need to do this. In task 2, looks good. Task 3, good. But
okay,
they will analyze each of the 5 parts, but you will get 1 grade on the one flowing document.
okay,
Okay?
okay.
Good question.
Yes, sir.
Good question. All right, guys. Work hard. Enjoy the weather while you can. I'm not quite sure what it's going to happen in North Carolina, but keep working and try to finish and get as much done as possible. I don't know. I was on the interstate today in a pickup truck, and it was so windy. I bet some of those people following behind me thought I was drunk. I mean, it was blowing me all over the road, and it's still a little strange out there. But anyway, stay focused, keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, and get your work up as soon as possible, but make sure you do it in conjunction with your clinical coach. Don't be a renegade and just shoot from the hip and throw something up. You want to make sure the clinical coach has looked at it, thinks it's workable, and said, okay, I agree with you. I think you met the components of the rubric. Let's move that document up. And then with Nadej's help, Walt has said, and pulling back some of the pictures and charts, hopefully one of those methods will be uploaded so you can get it in the system to be evaluated. Okay? All right, I'll send that to you in a few minutes. And I will see y'all in 2 weeks. Or if you want sooner, just let me know and I'll Zoom when you tell me what time and what day. Okay? All right.